You see home prices everywhere, in headlines, on Property Guru, flyers, even agents' tags. 600k, 800k, 1 million, or even 2 million. But what does that number actually mean? The real question is, can you afford it? How will you pay for it? In fact, it all comes down to 4 sources of fund. And in this video, I'll break it down for you, so you don't need to speak to an agent or banker yet. Just watch this, run the numbers, and have your own initial assessment. Let's be clear, the home price alone means nothing. You need to break down how much you can actually afford. And that begins with your CPF. If you're under 55, it's rather straightforward. Log into your CPF account with your SingPass, check your OA balance, and that's your available amount. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes only. But if you're already 55 or older, it may work differently. CPF will automatically set aside money for your retirement account, and that amount depends on whether have you met your basic or full retirement sum. Only what's left after that can be used for housing, and this is where some buyers above 55 get caught. I've broken down this more fully in another video on housing options after 55. I'll leave that link in the description below. For now, just remember, don't assume that your full CPF OA is available after 55. Always check. Do a screenshot of your CPF OA saving and write it down. Don't base on memory. Indicates the date that you have checked. The second source of fund is support from the government, and that's come in form of housing grant. But this applies only to eligible Singaporeans, and only if you are buying a HDB flat or brand new executive condo (EC). So if you are looking at private property, you can skip this session and go straight to the third source of fund. Now there are 3 main types of housing grant for resale HDB. Let's go through them very quickly, and I will show you how they add up in real case. The first is CPF housing grant, and the income ceiling is 14,000 per month for families and 7,000 for single. If you are buying a 2-room, 4-room resale flat for eligible family, you can get up to 80,000 and 40,000 for eligible singles. For 5-room and above resale flat, eligible families can get up to 50,000 and eligible singles can get up to 25,000. Next is the Enhanced Housing Grant, EHG. This grant is based on your income. If your average monthly household income is not more than 1,500, you may be eligible for maximum grant of 120,000 for families. The more you earn, the less amount you are eligible for. For example, if your household income is 5,000, you may be only eligible for 65,000, capped at 9,000, which you will still get 5,000. For single, if your average monthly household income is not more than 750, the maximum EHG grant is 60k, capped at 4,500, which you could still get 2,500. Once again, the more you earn, the less amount you are eligible for. Finally, we have the Proximity Housing Grant, PHG. This grant is eligible for families or singles who have not taken PHG previously. There is no income ceiling, and it is only for resale flat. For families living with their parents or child, the PHG grant is 30k. For family near their parents or married child within 4 kilometers, the PHG is 20k. For single living with their parents or child, the PHG is 15k. For single living near their parents or child within 4 kilometers, the PHG is 10,000. Even if your parents or child live in private property, as long as you are within 4 kilometers, you are still eligible. Important note, your parents or child must observe the proximity rule during this 5 years minimum occupation period, meaning they must continue living within 4 kilometers for the entire 5 years period, or the PHG may be revoked and you may be required to pay back the grant. Next, we use a real example. Let's say you are a married couple, first timer earning 6,000 per month, buying a 4-room resale flat near parents. CPF housing grant is 80,000, plus EHG 50,000, plus proximity housing grant 20,000. Total, that's 150,000 in grant, and that's a lot of money. But remember, it's not free. When you sell the flat, grants must be refunded to CPF with accrued interest. So think of it this way, the government isn't just giving you money to buy flat, it gives you money to support your future retirement. The third source of fund is your loan, and this is where many people get confused. There are 2 types, HDB loan for HDB buyer only and bank loan for HDB or private property buyers. Now, let's start with HDB loan. Current interest rate is at 2.6% and it is subject to Mortgage Servicing Ratio, MSR, which means that you can only use up to 30% of your monthly income to pay for the loan. So how much loan can you get? It depends on your income and your age. And there are 2 examples based on 25 years loan. If you earn 3,000, your maximum monthly repayment is 900, and that gives you a loan about 198,000. If you earn 10,000, your maximum monthly repayment is 3,000, and that gives you a loan of about 661,000. Now, if you are 55 or older, your loan tenure drops to 10 years or below, so the loan amount you qualify will also be lower. Now let's move on to bank loan. At the time of recording, fixed rate are around 2.35% for OCBC, 2.38% for UOB, and 2.45% for DBS. Let's just use 2.5% interest as a guide. Bank loans are subject to something called TDSR, which stands for Total Debt Servicing Ratio. It means up to 55% of your gross monthly income can go towards all your debt repayment, including car loan, credit card, and housing loan. And if you have no other debts, the full 55% can go towards your housing repayment. So how much loan can you actually get? And here's an example based on 30 years loan at 2.5% interest. If you earn 7,000, 55% give you 3,850 per month, and which give you a loan of around 974,000. And if you earn 10,000, 55% is 5,500, and that will get you a loan about 1.39 million. Once you're 55 and older, your land tenure typically shortens to 10 years or less, and that means your maximum loan amount will also be reduced. The above calculations are for general guidance only and should not be taken as a financial advice. There are some details like stress test by the bank, internal lending policies, perhaps potential changes by the government or MAS, which I will not go into here. Your actual loan amount depends on your credit score, existing debt, and how the bank assess. Again, these are just estimates. To get the actual figures, you may need to speak to a banker and get an in-principle approval before viewing any homes. Next, we move on to your last source of fund, which is your cash. If you are buying your first home, this is straightforward. Check your saving or liquidate investment. If you are selling and buying, it's a bit more complex. Estimate your cash proceeds. We use selling price minus outstanding loan minus CPF refund plus accrued interest minus legal and selling costs. For example, let's say 1 million less outstanding loan 200k, less CPF refund 320,000, less selling cost about 25,000. So the cash proceeds estimate to be around 455,000. This is the estimate of what you actually have on hand, and most people can use that to fund their next home. Please do set aside some amount for renovation or saving. Anyway, the estimated cash proceeds gives you a clearer picture of your affordability range. And also note that if there are CPF refunds from the sales of your home, it may go back to your CPF and allowed to use for your next home purchase. So please refer to the CPF section earlier. Once again, affordability is when you are in control, not courage. Now let's tie it all together. So how much home can you really afford? That depends on 4 things. How much CPF OA you can use, whether you qualify for any grant, the loan amount that you are eligible and comfortable range of repayment, and how much cash you actually have. Assuming after selling your flat, do you prefer to hold more cash and take maximum loan, which you pay more monthly, or use more cash upfront to reduce loan size? I'm curious. Let me know in the comment section. If you found this video helpful so far, do give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. Once again, I'm Kenneth. Previously, I did a video on 7 habits that keep you poor after 55, and you might be keen on that too. Click here to watch, and I'll see you soon.